Hi, welcome back to my studio. It's Claire, and can you believe it? It's March already. What happened to January and February? We covered basic rulers for you last month, giving you some ideas of what rulers to have in your stash and also a few designs to get you started in terms of what you can do with those rulers. Rather than just having them in the drawer, you might as well get on and use them, right? Another issue that is often a question we're asked about is sashing designs. Most traditional quilts will have sashings of some sort. So this month we're going to look at how you go about quilting them, the different pathways that you can use, different options, and we're going to give you some of our favorite designs. So this week it's my turn. I'm going to go over to the drawing board, change the camera, and then I can show you a few ideas over there. Let's start off looking at different quilt structures. So in terms of the layout of the blocks, this one is a very simple one. I've got 9 blocks and they're surrounded by sashings. In this case, it would all be one color. The alternative would be to have something like this. So here I've still got my 9 blocks, but then I've got shorter pieces of sashing and I've got cornerstone blocks. So if I color in a few of those cornerstones for you that you can see them more clearly, then you have a different structure that you need to quilt. So you can't quilt a whole long line because you come up against a block that you want to do something different in. Let's go back to the first type of quilt without the cornerstones just to start with, and then we can deal with these ones just now. So some of the most simple designs that you can use for quilts that don't have cornerstones, they're great for just doing everything continuously. I love the loopy kind of designs and the ones that kind of follow a wave pattern. So if you had a loop that goes one way and the next one goes the opposite direction. So this on its own would be perfect in a sashing. I could also make it a leaf. So one goes up, one comes down, one comes up, one goes down. On the same sort of line, you could have swirls. One goes up, one comes down. They're really, really easy designs. You don't have to do any particular marking. You don't have to pick up a ruler. It's just dead easy. If I turn this over and I pretend then that this is my block, here with the sashing around the outside. Let's just start with the loops because that's the simplest one. I'm going to loop. And then I can just go around the corner. And you're going to do exactly the same with any of those designs that I showed you just now. If you've got a quilt that's got these cornerstone kind of blocks, then you're actually going to just quilt the section and then generally you're going to do something different in those cornerstones. So let's say for instance I wanted to do a ribbon candy. I would come along doing my ribbon candy in this block. When I get to the cornerstone, I'm going to do something else. So we can look at options just now, but let's say I'm just going to put a cross in there. And then I can continue here with my sashing design, so my ribbon candy. Finish here. I can then find a way to work around the blocks in as continuous a pattern as I possibly can. Remember, you don't want to stop and start too many times. You want to try and do as much as you can whilst you're up and going. It helps with consistency, but it's also just time, makes it quicker to work. So So if I come back up here, I'm going to finish this block. Now I have to decide, can I stitch in the ditch up there and continue, or did I want to end my thread and start in a different position? So the last topic for the day is, if you've got these cornerstone kind of blocks, what are you going to quilt in them? I like to go with designs that go to the corners of the block, because invariably you're going to come in at a corner from the sashing strip next to it, and therefore it makes it easier to quilt. So let's have a look, a couple of ideas. The very simplest would just be like a continuous curve kind of design. If I do that and I'm stitching in the ditch, if I end it there, I can stitch in the ditch to here to continue my next sashing. So it's easy enough to travel around. That's one kind of continuous curve. I like this one as well, where you do like an asymmetric kind of curve, fat to thin, fat to thin. That one also gives you a nice effect. Or you can do kind of a star effect. You can mark points on these if you want to, or you can just eyeball it. It doesn't have to be precise, and it doesn't even have to be done with a ruler. These ones so far, you can do all of them freehand. This one is just like I showed you just now with the layout with the cornerstones. If you stitched in the ditch, you can come down here, you can re-stitch that bottom ditch and go up. It's not going to look funny because all of your ditches have been stitched anyway. So that one's not going to be a problem. I can come in here and do an arc and an arc, go down, do an arc and an arc, and then shoot along the bottom to get to my next block. This one here, if you mark your halfway points and you go from this one, we've done this sort of a star in other places too. You go to every third point, so 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. If you keep on doing that as you go around your block, you end up with a very cool star. There you go. So that's one that you can do. That one's nice and easy. You could do a kind of a crosshatch effect, like this, and then if you go to the halfways, you've got that one. I like to do a kind of a flower. This one's a nice one. If you can get these sort of curly brackets right. It can be a bit of a brain twister, but that one's a really cool one. So you're aiming for this shape on each of those axes. You just extend this part further so it comes to the center, and that allows you to make the cross in the middle. You can also combine a lot of these shapes. So if you wanted, you could start with like the first one that we did, like that, and then make a flower shape on the inside of it. And even with this one, you can go around twice and give it a more specialized look. It just depends on how much time you want to spend dollying up your quilt. So there's a few ideas to get you going just with basic sashing designs and some of those designs for your cornerstones. Next week we'll have another design to help you master. Happy quilting!